He's equalled his best by getting this far, and Woodforde has surpassed himself. His 10th Roland Garros. He's got to the third round 4 times, 88, 89, 93 and 94, but has lost each time. And I have to say, he goes into this match very much as the underdog. If you believe the bookies. Well, they started today at 7-4 on Rafter, and I can tell you there's been a ton of money on him. And he was 9-4 on by the end. There's their head-to-head with Rafter 6-4 in the third in their last meeting in Hong Kong. Be a contrast, this match, to the last one. We're going to see, although Chang did move in quite a lot, and interesting that he should say afterwards, you wouldn't have heard that, but we heard that on our effects microphone. Chang saying that if he played the match again, he would have attacked Bruguera from the net a little more. Here, we're going to have guys who will come to the net.
Yes, that's for sure. We're going to see a lot more balls played closer to the net, particularly by Woodforde. Rafter, I think, probably a little bit more rounded now in his game, and therefore I think he can mix it up a lot. There's been a lot of improvement on the Rafter ground strokes. He's proved himself on clay this year, beaten Muster. Mind you, a few people have beaten Muster, but nevertheless, that's a pretty good pedigree to have in the French. And as you've pointed out, with Galo Blanco now to face in the very next round, there's everything to play for. And the opportunity surely must be narrowing for somebody like Woodforde. And therefore, you know that he's going to be battling until his last breath to try and win this match, because, well, a match with Blanco is pretty inviting, isn't it?
Yes, Curtin already through, if you only just tuned in. Won that 5th set, taken over from last night. It was 2-all Curtin. Gustavo Curtin from Brazil beat Andre Medvedev. A surprise to a lot of people. A lot of people had Medvedev as the best floating outsider here. Well, he's out. Curtin is through to meet Yevgeny Kafelnikov.
À droite de la chaise, Mark Woodforde, Australie. À gauche de la chaise, Pat Rafter, Australie.
Won just one title, Rafter.
Pat Rafter a gagné le
and that was in Manchester, in England, 1994. Mike Morrissey, an Englishman to take charge here.
Yes, and it sounded to me as if Rafter had won the spin of the coin, elected to serve, so it's aggression from the word go by Rafter. Very good attacking serve, not a huge serve, not in the Philippoussis mould, but not a bad, generally, first serve percentage, just under the 60% mark. And he tends to shade Woodforde when it comes, at least during the course of last year, when it comes to the serving categories. That is, wins more games on his serve than does Woodforde, wins a higher percentage behind his first and his second serve. The one area where Woodforde does come out a little better is saving break points, and perhaps that can be put down to just a canny bit of experience on the left-hander's part.
Woodforde from Adelaide, South Australia. Rafter from Queensland, but now lives in Bermuda. One stat he won't enjoy, Woodforde. Rafter has met 6 Aussies this year, and he's won all 6. Rafter to begin. It's a super athlete. Moves well, stretches well, sometimes a little slow off the mark. It seems to me that his eye-hand coordination isn't as quick as some others, but when he moves, he does get there. If there's one weakness I've seen in his game, it's his return of serve, which is very much hand-eye coordination.
Yes, particularly on the backhand side, but that's where I think on clay, actually, you won't be quite as bad, because you can get away with poorish technique on clay, whereas you can't get away with it on a fast surface.
30-15.
Be interesting to see how long he keeps up serve volleying behind second serves.
Woodforde, a semi-finalist in the Australian Open last year. Rafter has never got to the quarter-final of any Grand Slam event. Oh yes, when he's volleying under the severest scrutiny there. But not bad stuff.
There's Mark Waters, who is one of these men who looks after the fitness and footwork side. There's so many marks in the Australian camp that they try and differentiate. Mark Philippoussis, Mark Woodforde, Mark Waters. Some call him Running Waters.
Better than being called Still Waters.
Yes, I'm sure he has a few other names from the Australians. He's just had a son recently, has Mark Waters.
Woodforde just about the oldest guy now in the top flight. Would enjoy that, but he's used to it. Rafter, very much the cunning guy 2 or 3 years ago, and for one reason or another hasn't made the breakthrough. Had a bad wrist injury which has held him back. But there's no doubt about his commitment. He wants it bad.
That, I think, is where he gains so much. That's where his personality shines. He oozes confidence, does Rafter. He oozes enthusiasm for the game.
Love one.
Rafter's played 22 fewer games coming into this last 16 match, chiefly, of course, because of that 5-set match that Woodforde had against Javier Sanchez, the two veterans meeting in the first round.
This little kicker sitting up invitingly for Rafter.
There's no real pace on it, and that's not going to threaten the Rafter returning technique. 2 missed first serves, 2 very low, uncomfortable volleys.
Played. Yes, where I've seen Rafter struggle on return before, it's been with a big bludgeoning serve, you're right, on the faster surface. And here he hasn't got that to cope with, either the bludgeoning serve or the faster surface. So He could do okay here. Well played.
30.
Almost paralleling each other, aren't they, in the missed first serves, although Rafter's done rather better in his opening game. But both insisting, for the moment at least, serve volleying.
He likes that serve out wide, does Woodforde.
It's a very useful serve for the left-hander to use every now and again. It does kick away, and generally the right-hander is expecting one to the backhand, so he's leaning to his left.
Lent to his left nicely there.
Yes, beautiful bit of time. You can see he stays behind the baseline, but then just moves in about half a metre or so, blocks the ball here, hits it way out in front of him, and the important thing really is to stay with the shot.
Avantage Woodforde.
Well, this crowd won't have seen much of this sort of tennis for a long, long time. Two players playing the serve volleying tactic. It'll take some of them back in time. Others won't have seen it at all.
Just checking the line, but it was right there on it. We're not going to get so many balls and lines checked as we did in the last match. That was unbelievable. I think in the end it was a bit of macho stuff going on. Who can get the most checked?
Yes, I suppose two French Open champions meeting one another. There's an awful amount of pride out there on this court.
Avantage Rafter.
Yes, he doesn't want to overdo the one out wide. So Rafter then with break point for 2-love. Woodforde, yes, he just looks down at that one, which must have been very close, and he wanted to check. No call, and he carried on playing. Of course, once he played the next shot, there was no going back. Rafter then gets the break and leads 2-love.
Yes, I think it probably just got the very back edge of the line, but enough to disconcert him, certainly put him off. But Rafter just that little bit steadier, and that opening, the first really long rally of the match.
Cancel.